Здравейте на всички, аз съм Спец Въни и днес реши да пробваме една по-различна инди игричка The Stanley Parable. Това е една много кратка игра, която е с много избори, направена лек тип пъзел и от тези избори зависи от това как самата игра ще продължи. Така че настанете се удобно и нека да започнем.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-ending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Добре. Сега сме ли добре? Не мога да си представя как работят хората. Наистина има такива, които работят в такива места. Той най-малко няма прозорец. В смисъл, ето къде е прозорец или там, какво е там? Това е прозорец, тук е някаква тъмна кутийка с един часовник, просто някакъв компютър, подобен на компютър. Всичко мизерно с някакви кафета, моливи и някакви глупости. Мога ли да зумна тук нещо? Не. Добре. И отивам се.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Къде е там? В смисъл, ние трябва да отидем там или... Тук е някакви неща. Гледам май само насам отключвам. Тук няма нещо. Тук е.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Чакайте. Той казва, той влезе наляво. Това означава, че аз трябва да отида наляво? Или какво?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Добре.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Кое? Тук нещо работи?
Yes, really worth it being here in the room. A room so... But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
What? Тук е някакво малко страшно ми изглежда, а? Какво ще стане добре, ако...
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Воу. Това е огромно. Това има някакъв канцер, има някакви хора. Чакай, какво пише тук, чакай. Принятел мисия... някакви глоби. Уоу, какво е това нещо? Каква е тази лудница? Що клякам? Тук някаква карта иска.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but what? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side.
Това е много интересно. Сега затворя, нали? Да. Тук къде отиваме? Много такова място. Много подозрително така. Някой да каже, къде отивам пенер, че нещо няма.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Бе, това е много забъркано. Значи хората казват, че може да се мине за много време, но също време може да се... В същия начин може пък да се мине пък за 2 минути. Така че това е много странно. Добре, какво ще стане, ако минем през синята? Ай, ще минем един път през червена.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Не искам да влизам през тази врата, ама какво да правя? Лоудинг? Добре, много е странно.
What do we want? What are we looking for?
Нямам си на смисъл, движа ли се?
Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy. No, wait. Where are you going?
Мисля, че трябва да минем тук.
Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
Няма да човек. Ти лудиш.
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
Това е вече странно. В смисъл, той иска да скоча през тако... няма да скачам, човек. Аз не съм тука... 6 волтове. Няма някаква въртичка тук. Айде да се връщаме назад, в смисъл, тук няма нищо. Тук някаква дискотека ли, бе?
Good. We can't be too safe. Promise me you won't go back there. Just stay here.
Сега ще стане някаква лудница. Просто го предусещам, човек. Тук мога ли да падна? Не мога да падна.
No! What did we talk about? You're risking everything we achieved here.
Какво сме ачивнали?
You heard me before, didn't you? You will die! What about this isn't getting through to you?
Това е много странна игра. Не знам, само на мен не ми харесва, обаче е много странна игра.
Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
Добре, ако скочим по
No!
Това ли беше?
Thank God you lived. You had me worried there for a moment. No, 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 what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
Добре, това сега може би...
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me? Yes. Perhaps you can. Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking about. I know you'll see that we can't be happy if we leave this place. You can see that, can't you?
Добре, какво правим? Аз се обърках. То минаваш през някакви врати и някакви такива неща, но... Много стана тази. Добре, какво правим? Аз не мога да разбера, аз съм обърках. What? Добре, тук просто стават някакви дискотеки, смисъл, нищо друго не става.
No, perhaps not.
И каква е лъкта да има място без врата? Смисъл, това е лудница.
My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You were literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation?
Аз качвам, не ме интересува.
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours. Is it over?
Това ли
It's
виж?
a restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
What? Много е странна тази игра, някакъв психопати направи тази игра, ама... О, пак от тук! Добре, явно това е
All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
Това е явно някаква... Така игра, с иска да те обърка и аз... той почти в кабинета...
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Добре. Много е странната игра.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Врата няма, ама...
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Тук сега леко страшно, сега каквото да си говорим. Айде да отидем догоре, а? Айде да отидем догоре. Така, upstairs, но долу ми е някакво такова, но... Екзекутив братрунчик, бах ти... банята. Някаква... специална баня ли? Ве.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth. That his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
2, 4, 8, 5, нещо казва? 8, 5. Не. Не чух.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
2845. Добре.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Чакай, това беше за... Какво? Тук нямаше ли камина? Или аз нещо? Бъркам. Да, имаше някаква камина, тогава аз... Типично винаги е зад камината, значи... Не е зад, да кажем... Или ще за някой гардероб, примерно. Това е другия вариант.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Като гледам то някъде да отидем, така че и то по-гадно от някакво странно...
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Опа, чакайте. Някакво контролно ума ли? Вай, какви неща. А тук има Escape. Обаче защо е написано така Escape, а? Само ще погледнем тук да не се затвори някаква врата. Нищо няма там.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Дори назад не може да се върнем, естествено. Това колко телевизор и какво има долу? Що му е така? Бре, там е някаква камера, бутон.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Още нещо. Той има долу има.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Това е много странна игра. Така че някакъв пъзел, аз очаквах някакви просто, нали... от тук мини, оттам мини, нали, някакви работи. Тук мига обаче. То се оказа съвсем различно. Това копче ли някакво? What? Бе, вратата не се затваря, бе. Mind control.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Айде ми почитаем от Сакримон.
Oh, Stanley, You didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though. This version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. What the hell are you doing? But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless.
Може освен да натиснем бутоните подред, не знам.
This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No end. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me. All a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever up.
Не, тая игра просто не е нормална. Тая игра не е добре. По-точно, който я направил не е добре. Чакайте сега да измислим нещо. Значи, ако отидем пак на същото място, Какво ли ще стане? Ми е интересно. На онова мястото, което... С онзи екран ли беше? Какво беше там? Където е? Я да отидем на него. Сега искам нали да помисля за какво става въпрос, нали обаче?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed it. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire
този офис, сина, да.
Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Така, ядем сега. Имаме една врата, втора врата. Айде на бързо.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
А долу може ли да отидем просто да направим така?
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
Контролната ума, може би този въобще не трябва да го слушам, ама въобще.
Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Човек, няма да ви кажеш какво да правя, разбираш. В смисъл, има хора, които са...
This is it, Stanley.
Много глупави, нали, така да го кажем. Където като ми кажеш, нали, направи нещо, те веднага го правят, не се замислят дали за това ще има... Това ще има последствия за тях, примерно. Добре, айде да отговаряме, нали. Нали така. Да видим какво ще стане. Няма да го слушам въобще този.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting.
What?
I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go.
Това е малко или много страшно.
I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Good morning, employee, please.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
But
in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it. You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button.
Whoa, това вече е прекалено.
And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Това е прекалено. Значи, каквото и да си говорим, това е наистина психопатска игра. Ударат. Отново ли започва? Само че този път има някакви разхвърляни неща. Добре, айде до тук ще такова ми ще помисля. Само да ме така. Да, то същото. Да. Това ще бъде за първи епизод, не знам колко ще са епизодите, може би 2, 3. Зависи от това колко варианта още ще намерим. Така че много интересно да става. Много странна играта, точно психопатска, но много по-различна. Също така, като всеки път се променя по нищо малко, някакъв детайл. Така че, благодаря, че гледахте. Ако ви е харесало видеото, ударете лайк. Ако не ви е харесало, дизлайк. И може също да се абонирате за канала.